I'm Jay Huguley, and you're watching Entertainment Focus.
Hi, Jay.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming along today. Where have you just come from?
I just came from doing some ADR, some looping for this last movie I just did, so I then came straight to you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And also, you're currently playing the role of Will Branson on the program Treme.
I am.
Can you tell us a bit about this character?
Will Branson is a real estate developer who's come to New Orleans to capitalize on the money that's come back into the city after Hurricane Katrina. And he is working on a specific project to build sort of a Lincoln Center-like jazz venue for New Orleans, something to celebrate the jazz culture in New Orleans.
Fantastic.
And whether or not that's going to happen is soon to be seen.
Because Treme is such a critically acclaimed and much loved program. So what's it like to be part of such a huge show?
It's been incredible. You know, I'm a huge fan of David Simon, who created the show, and he created another show called The Wire, which is, I think, just about the best show on TV. And you know, it's great to work with, you know, black belt actors. You know, it's Melissa Leo and John Goodman and Steve Zahn, and you know, we shoot in New Orleans, which is a great place to be, and you know, so it's been an incredible experience. They get the best directors. You know, it's Anthony Hemingway and Agnieszka Holland and Tim Robbins, and it's just been. You feel like you've sort of been dropped into this black belt group of people. So
fantastic.
I'm really excited about it.
And another terrific program you were in was Brothers and Sisters,
yeah.
and you played Whit Payton in that. So how does your time on that show compare? You
know, Brothers and Sisters was you know, a big network show. So I found that you know, that was the first job that I ever did where I was working with an ensemble of such talent. You know, it was Sally Field and Ron Rifkin and Callista Flockhart and Patty Wettig. But you know, when you work on a big network show, there's a lot less time. So you know, you're sort of thrown into the machine very, very quickly. So I would say that it took me a little more time to find my bearings. But that show was a gift all around, created by John Robin Bates, who's a brilliant playwright, and so yeah.
And so was that your favorite role that you've ever played, or is it another?
You know, that's a tough question. I mean, for me, it's all about the character, and you know, I was asked this before. I think I did a guest starring role in a show called Medium with Patricia Arquette a long time ago, and it's the creator is this brilliant guy named Glenn Gordon Caron, who created a lot of other great shows like Moonlighting, and he has a very interesting way of writing. He sort of writes as he goes, and I was hired on that show to play a detective that was solving this very, very big sort of serial murderer. This crime that was taking place in Arizona, and by the end of the show, he had written me more and more pages, and it turned out by the end of the show that I had done all of them, which was a really, really fascinating thing to play. And so I think that was, looking back on all of them, that was the most exciting.
Oh, that's fantastic. And prior to being an actor, you were actually a model. And so how did you make that transition from modeling to acting?
You know, I started that when I was very young. I started when I was about 16, and I think, you know, people think that that's a natural transition, but I think it created more problems. You know, I think modeling is all about being very, very aware of the camera and where it is and everything like that, and then I think acting is the opposite. I think acting is about forgetting where the camera is, but it was a great thing to be doing at the time. I started very young, so I started going on, you know, appointments with my mom at first, and but I did it for about 10 years, and I was very grateful for everything that it brought me. It got me into commercials, I think, which eventually got me into acting.
Okay, so that was the transition, and what were did you have fun experiences as a model? Was it a fun time for you?
You know, I think the two best things about modeling were you get to work with incredibly talented artists, you know, the photographers and the designers, and you're exposed to a lot of great art at a young age. And then the trips you get to go on, you know. I was going to some really cool places at a young age, and you never know, especially working in Europe, you never knew where you were going to be. There was Portofino one day, and then the Swiss Alps another day, so that was really exciting.
Fantastic.
But I think at some point you get you're not as comfortable just having to sort of stand there. You want to say in what you're doing. So I think, yeah, that got a little old quickly. Which it's a young person's game.
So as well as your TV work and your screen work, you've had lots of stage roles. For you, how does theatre compare to TV, and what do you love about theatre?
Well, for me, I think, one of the best parts about being an actor is rehearsal. To be able to be in a room full of really talented actors and a great writer, and to be able to workshop something and solve problems. And so you get that with theater. Sometimes you get 6 weeks of rehearsal. And with film and television, obviously you don't get that. Sometimes with films you get maybe a few days, but and theater, when you finally go up, you're out there for 2 hours without a net, and you have to solve your own mistakes if they happen, and there's no cut, and so that is thrilling. That's like an athletic event for an actor.
I can imagine. And going back to the screen, and actually the big screen, you'll soon be coming to a cinema near us in 12 Years a Slave. A movie with Brad Pitt, Michael Fassbender and Paul Giamatti. So what can you tell us about that movie?
12 Years a Slave, I think it'll probably come out in 2013 sometime, maybe
Yes.
in the spring or summer. It's an incredible script. It's a true story from a book by the same name, written by a man named Solomon Northup, who was a free black man in the North in Saratoga Springs, New York in 1841. He had a wife and two children, and he was drugged and kidnapped, and sold into the South, into slavery. And it's an incredible story. And he was an educated man. He could read and write, so he tried for years and years and years to get a letter to somebody to tell them where he was. And to read this novel and to remind yourself that it's a true story is astonishing. And he actually wrote the book himself. He finished it a year after he finds his way home. It's an extraordinary story, and I felt to work with Steve McQueen and Michael Fassbender, and it was an extraordinary experience.
Amazing. Where did you film?
We shot in rural Louisiana, a place called Vacherie, Louisiana, which is about an hour and a half outside of New Orleans.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what other projects? You're very busy, and what other projects have you got coming up?
Well, I just did a read-through of a movie I hope to do in the spring called Joe's Mountain with Chris Christopherson. And I just finished a TV movie for Lifetime called The Anna Nicole Smith Story with Martin Landau and Virginia Madsen and Adam Goldberg and this brilliant girl playing Anna Nicole named Agnes Bruckner. So also a really... I think that'll probably come out next year. They're still working, so I just finished my time on it. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so very much for spending time with us.
Thank you. It was great to be with you.
Bye-bye, Joe.